Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to another edition of the movie review series. And today I'm going to be talking about the latest installment in the MCU, Deadpool and Wolverine, which came out this year in 2024. And with this movie having been out for almost a week now, I thought I'd take this opportunity to let the dust settle and share my thoughts and opinions on what will no doubt be the comic book movie of the year, and certainly one of the most successful thus far in recent years. Now, the slogan has been thrown around that this movie will save the MCU. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say that Deadpool and Wolverine has completely saved the MCU, but I would definitely say it's helped put the MCU back on the right track. So, time will tell really whether this movie has played its part and helped put the MCU back on the right path. But so far, so good. It's done its job. This was a fun movie. I really enjoyed this one a lot. And the selling point for me, as far as this movie is concerned, was the return of Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine once again after 7 years. And this was highly anticipated. Expectations were high. Hugh Jackman went in, kicked the door down, kicked some serious ass, and more than exceeded expectations. It was great to see him back. He looked in phenomenal shape. He hadn't missed a single step. It was like he became Wolverine yesterday. It looked like he hadn't been away, and he retained all of the badassery, that charm, and that epicness that made him so beloved as Wolverine. And it was absolutely incredible. And the best thing about it was Deadpool and Wolverine had an R rating, and Hugh Jackman really got to go to town as Wolverine and go places that he wasn't able to go before. And this made Deadpool and Wolverine the first MCU movie to have an R rating. And let's be honest, when you've got two out there characters like Deadpool and Wolverine, you have to have an R rating. You would be nuts not to, because of the sheer brutality that these two characters bring to the table. You need to have an R rating. If this had been a PG-13, I don't think this movie would have registered half as much. So props to Marvel Studios for making the decision in giving this movie an R rating, and it worked. And let me tell you something, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman took full advantage of the R rating, and deservedly so. These two worked so well together. It was like a buddy cop movie, good cop, bad cop, you know, both complete opposites, but it just worked so well. And obviously, we all know that Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have worked together before in Wolverine X-Men Origins, which was absolutely terrible, crap beyond words, which is a shame, really, because when you have two good actors in Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds playing Wolverine and Deadpool, they deserve so much more and so much better. And yeah, it was not a good movie. So I'm really glad these two got back together, got a shot at redemption, and gave us the movie that we were all begging for and yearning for. And as far as I'm concerned, in Geek Talk, Wolverine, X-Men Origins, yeah, that doesn't count. It's not canon. Yeah, doesn't exist as far as I'm concerned. Now, as I said earlier, this movie had its share of surprises, which I'll get into in a moment. But we're going to talk a little bit about what this movie was actually all about, really. So, this movie is set in 2018. So, As we all know, we see Wade Wilson used Cable's time travel device to bring his girlfriend Vanessa back to life, and we see him traveling from his universe, which is Earth 1005, and we see him go to Earth 616, which is hailed as the sacred timeline. We see Wade is trying to join the Avengers because he feels something is missing in his life. He needs some sort of meaning. And we get a cameo from Tony Stark's right hand man, Happy Hogan. And he basically just rejects him, but not in a nasty way, just more or less tells him to go back to his universe. And then we fast forward to 6 years later. We see Wade has broken up with Vanessa and he's pretty much retired as Deadpool, and he's now working as a car salesman with his friend Peter Wisdom, his former X Factor teammate who we saw in Deadpool 2. Now, prior to all of this, we see Deadpool at the beginning taking on the Time Variance Authority, which is short for TVA, and we see him just going to town with his sword to the NSYNC track Bye Bye Bye, which was absolutely stupid but funny at the same time. And we pretty much, as I mentioned, we see all that stuff that happened before, and we see the Time Variance Authority capture Wade and bring him to Mr. Paradox, who pretty much explains to him that as a result of Logan's death, time is slowly deteriorating and collapsing as a result of his death. So Paradox gives him a mission to find a variance of Logan to put in this place to restore the timeline, so to speak. So this is where things get really funny and cool at the same time. We see Deadpool is going through different timelines and seeing different versions of Wolverine. We see Four Horsemen Wolverine from Age of Apocalypse. We see Old Man Logan sitting on the porch with his hat and coat in Clint Eastwood mode. We even get Short Man Logan, which, as we all know, anybody who knows the X-Men comics, Wolverine is quite a short guy. He's not a big powerhouse guy like we've seen with Hugh Jackman. So we get to see all these different variants of Logan. And as a geek who's read a lot of the X-Men comics or knows the X-Men mythology, just seeing all these different variants of Logan was just brilliant. And I thought that was a really nice touch, paying homage to each different version of Wolverine from Marvel Media. I thought that was just absolutely brilliant. So then eventually we see Deadpool finds a variant dubbed the worst Wolverine in the multiverse. And I've got to tell you, Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds have amazing chemistry. To me, it's just those two on screen in cosplay. It was so fun. So we see Deadpool pretty much convinces Logan, I'm going to need your help. You need to come with me right now. So that was a real cool moment. Now, the main villain for this movie is Professor Xavier's evil sister, Cassandra Nova, who played a very big part in this movie. And she was great. She was a great villain. Kind of looked like James McAvoy a little bit. I don't know if they're related or not. I don't think they are, but could kind of see James McAvoy in her face a little bit. Now, as I said earlier, there were some surprises and they didn't disappoint. First cameo we got was Chris Evans as, wait for it, the Human Torch. You know, from those two Fantastic Four movies, those ones, yeah, absolutely fun seeing Chris Evans as the Human Torch once again, but much older in this universe. And, you know, we got to see Deadpool and Wolverine going at it. That was absolutely epic. And got to see different versions of Deadpool. Nice Paul, which was basically Wade Wilson with long hair and being all friendly. Weird but funny at the same time. And the big surprises we get is Laura, who is the daughter of Logan, X-23. Elektra, played once again by Jennifer Garner, who, by the way, I have to say this right now, she looked absolutely smoking hot. She looked better than ever. And we got Gambit. We actually got a comic book accurate cameo of Gambit. Unbelievable. I thought that was a great surprise, but the big surprise for me was Wesley Snipes as Blade. Never thought I'd see Wesley Snipes as Blade again. Just didn't think we'd ever see him again. As I said, there was lots of surprises in this movie. They didn't disappoint. The cameos were great. There was so much that went on in this movie. But what more can you say, really? This movie was just a real fun trip from start to finish. There was no dull moment. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And the Wolverine that Deadpool teams up with, in his universe, he walked away from the X-Men and all of his X-Men teammates got murdered and gunned down, and he was to blame, really. He felt that it was his fault that he let them die. So that's why he acts the way he does. And the biggest surprise of them all, wait for it, Hugh Jackman wearing the iconic yellow and blue Wolverine suit with the full mask. Wow. After all the years of not wearing the costume, we finally got him in the suit after 24 years. Was it worth the wait? Absolutely. It was more than well worth the wait as we saw Logan and Deadpool take on a whole army of Deadpool variants. It was just amazing. It's just absolutely amazing. This movie had it all. It had comedy, drama, emotion, swearing. There was no shortage of swearing. You name it, this film had it all. Surprises, great cameos, everything. This film was just fantastic. Special thanks to Kevin Feige and Ryan Reynolds for making this happen, and an extra special thanks to Hugh Jackman for coming back as Wolverine and giving the fans what they have been wanting to see for a really long time. This movie, for me, cemented Hugh Jackman as the true, definitive live action portrayal of Wolverine. Now, whomever they decide to cast as the new Wolverine for the MCU, they haven't got just big shoes to fill. They've got a huge legacy to fill. Now, how they're going to live up to that is going to be very interesting, but I can tell you now, whoever decides to step into the role of Wolverine, they've got to follow the guy before, and I can tell you now, that's not funny. That's not funny at all. I pity the guy who's got to follow Hugh Jackman. All I've got to say is best of luck, and I hope it works out for you because you're going to need it. Not an easy guy to follow, let me tell you. That's just like following not one, but two outstanding guitar players in a band. I wouldn't want to do that personally. I would be absolutely terrified. And to quote Deadpool in this movie, we're going to be getting him to do this until he's 90. Oh dear. But this was so much fun. I use that word a lot here because it was fun. Because what comic book movies should be. They should be fun. Do they all need to be dark and gloomy all the time? No, of course not. But they should be fun, and this movie was fun. Have to also mention that we got a cameo of a version of Wolverine fighting the Incredible Hulk. That was a nice treat as well. And we also got to see Henry Cavill as Logan. My God, I really didn't expect that one either. There's just so much that happened here. You know, you have to really pay attention, but there was a lot going on here. There really was. So we got to see Logan and Wolverine save the world, save Earth 1005 from deteriorating. Everything was restored back to normal. And we even got to see Logan and Wade become friends. Reluctant friends, but friends nonetheless. And Logan encourages Wade to reconcile with Vanessa. I thought that was a really nice treat. You know, that's like Logan's way of saying, look, I messed up in my universe. I don't want to see you mess up in yours. You've got a lot going for you. Don't screw it up. So I thought that was a really nice touch. But will we see Deadpool and Wolverine team up again? I think so. If this movie has been a huge success, which it has, then I think there's every chance that they'll team up again. That goes without saying. Was there any issues I had with this movie? No, I don't think there was any issues. I think the only issue I had was I would have liked to have seen more of the X-Men. It would have been nice to see, you know, all the old X-Men cast like Famke Janssen, James Marsden, Halle Berry, you know, Patrick Stewart. Would have been nice to see those guys back, even if it was just a cameo. Would have been nice, but that's probably my only takeaway from this movie. And in terms of fan service, I think this movie did it better than Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which I did still love, don't get me wrong, but I think in terms of the whole multiverse and fan service, I think Deadpool and Wolverine did it much better. And there was plenty of fourth wall breaking from Deadpool. Would have liked to have seen She-Hulk and Deadpool in a battle of fourth wall breaking. I think that would have been hilarious. Maybe we might see that in the sequel. Who knows? But it looks like they left the door wide open for another one. It depends on Hugh Jackman, whether he wants to continue playing Wolverine. Time will tell. But if this is the only time we get to see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, then I'm really pleased. We got the comic book accurate Wolverine in the full yellow and blue costume. Would have preferred if it was the brown one, but I'm happy with what we got. The main thing is we got him in the suit and it was fantastic. He looked amazing. So in terms of my rating for this movie, I'm going to be truly honest. As much as I enjoyed it, I'm going to probably give this movie maybe an 8 out of 10. It was a good movie. I wouldn't necessarily give it 10 out of 10 because that's like the absolute best, but I'll give this an honest 8 out of 10. I thought this was a really fun movie. It definitely lived up to the hype. And considering that this is only going to be the only MCU movie for this year, it's a good one. It's a very, very good one. And I loved it. This was a lot of fun, but I'm going with 8 out of 10. This was really good. And the chemistry between these two is just absolutely amazing. And I love to see more of them. So we'll see, really. But this was a great movie, and I'm really glad I went to see it. And as far as the post-credit scene goes, yeah, there wasn't anything special that went on in the post-credits. Nothing really sets up for anything. It was just Deadpool editing what the Human Torch had to say about Cassandra Nova. So that was about it, really. But other than that, nothing worth going mad about. But it's still worth sitting through just to see what it was all about. But yeah, there was nothing big in the post-credits scene, but it was still fun. So anyway, that's going to be it from me. I'm going to wrap this up now. What did you guys think of Deadpool and Wolverine? Did you enjoy it? What was your favourite moments in this movie? What was your favourite cameo? How did you think Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman worked? Do you think they had good chemistry? Do you think there'll be a sequel? Do you think we'll see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine again? Or do you think this truly was his swan song? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below. and I will see all of you next time for another edition of the movie review series. So until then, take care, everybody, and stay safe. And once again, as always, much appreciated. Thanks for listening.